So what I'm going to put in now is a person's age. So we'll just pick a number, let's say 30 years old. Okay, and we'll into this cell we'll go equals whatever the person inputted here, right? And so equals D29, enter. Now the reason we do that again is because we want to keep all these highlighted cells for somebody to use so that they can just change the numbers anytime they like, right? So we put in 30 and then into the next cell I want 31, so I want equals this cell plus plus this number up here. Okay, so that'll be 31. So the next year you'll be 31 and so on, right? But I wanted to keep calling the D29 cells. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put the dollar signs around the D. So $D, $29 plus C31, enter. And then if I use, if I grab this and again use the black plus sign in the bottom right, if I move over, then Excel helps me out again because look, it keeps grabbing the blue D29 cell, but it predicts that I want this number up here, which I do, right? So in any case, that's a nice useful way to get it to add on 1 year each time so that you don't have to type it in. Okay, so we've got to here, and now what I'm going to do is look at this pattern over time, and I'm particularly interested in this bottom row here to see how this changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these cells down in a column. Then I'm going to click on the bottom right until the black plus sign appears again. I'm going to hold down with the left click, move across just one column to the right, and then let go, and let's see if that actually worked. Now I think it did. The 5 went to 6. The annual mortgage payment stayed the same. That's what we want. The home ownership costs should have gone up by 3%, and they did because they're using this power, this 6 as the exponent, and again it's calling the 3% for the D25. So that worked. 35 years of age went up to 36 years of age. The mortgage stay is these two numbers added together. That's the entire cost of having the mortgage, and then the rent increased by 3%, right? Because again it pulled this here. So and then this is this number, the mortgage subtract, or sorry, the rent subtract the mortgage. So that's that number here, rent subtract mortgage. Okay, so and that's gone down a bit too, so it is working. So I'm going to do that again. If I grab everything in this column, okay, and then try to find that little black plus, I'm going to go across to say whatever age you think you might die at. So we're going to hold on, and we're going to go all the way to let's say 81 or 82 or something like that, right? Oh, and that would be about here when that, you see that little number in the bottom says 50. I don't know if you notice that. So 30 plus 50 is about 80. So it's got about 51, 50, 51. Okay, so I've gone as far as age 81 or 80 or something like that. So that might be a typical life expectancy. Okay, one problem though is that my mortgage payment kept showing up the entire time, but we have to remember that this is just a 30-year mortgage. Okay, now there's a fancy way of fixing that, and there's a not so fancy way of fixing it. So the easy way to fix this is, okay, in year 0 I paid the mortgage all the way up until actually year 29. So from here on out, okay, I can just go 0, 0, 0, 0 and type it in. All right, and I can get Excel to predict that. So I could just highlight a 0 and then move across, and Excel is going to make all these guys 0. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. And just because I'm feeling adventurous, I'm going to show you another way. Okay, so what we're going to do is do a little if formula. And the reason I'm going to do this fancy way will allow you then to change your term of the loan in years, and everything will change accordingly, like a 20-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage and so on. So take it or leave it. You don't have to do this, but just for fun, if so here's what I'm going to type. I'll just type it all out. So as I start out with, so it goes equals if parenthesis, and underneath you'll see logical test, value if true, value if false. Now the logical test is the year more than 30 or less than 30? Because if the year is less than 30 right now, then we want these cells to have the mortgage payment. So I'm going to say if, and I'll grab this cell, that's B31. So just click on it. What's that? B31. If that is, and then find your less than symbol on your keyboard. If B31 is less than whatever we have here, and it's 30 right now, that's D7, okay? D7, and I'm just going to click on it, it'll appear down here. So if B31 is less than D7, and I always want it to grab the D7, so I'm going to put dollar signs around that, okay? Always wanted to talk about the D7, comma, and now value if true. Okay, so the value if true in this cell is going to be the 10,307, which is D10. Okay, so click on D10. So, and I'm going to put dollar signs around that because I wanted to always reference that cell. And then over here, value if false, comma, well, if it's false, then I don't want anything in here because the mortgage has been paid off. So I put 0 and then I go parentheses. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, as long as this number up here is less than 30, right, 30-year mortgage, then we want it to put out the $10,307. If not, we want it to just give 0 and press enter on that. Okay, and then if I again grab that bottom right and move it across, it's gonna predict correctly what I want here, because again it did work because it's saying C31. It's saying if this number is less than D7, which is the 30 years, it's going to input the D10, which is 10,307, and it is true because 1 is less than 30. So if one is less than 30, which is true, it'll spit this out. If not, it'll give you 0, right? And so on. So in any case, if I just do this for all of the cells in the row, that would have worked automatically, so I wouldn't have to manually type in the zeros, right? And the nice thing about that now, if I use the if formula, is that if I change to a 20-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage, what's that, 15, enter, now everything changes accordingly in this row, because here's our annual mortgage cost, right? And lo and behold, after 15 years you're done, right? And so it shows 0 for that from then on. See that? Okay, so we'll move it back to and we could do that for a 20-year mortgage. Press enter, and it should show the mortgage cost for a 20-year mortgage, annual cost, and then you're all paid off after 20 years. See that? So these are all zeros here. All right. Anyway, so we'll put that back to 30, and we've got that. Now, the most fun part of this project is we're going to put this on a little graph. I haven't included any income yet because I want to just look at the mortgage and the rent, but trust me, what I'd like you to do is highlight these three, left click down on all these 3 rows, and then just highlight them all, and then we're going to try to graph them. Okay. So I'm not using the predictor at all. I'm just highlighting a bunch of cells. I guess we could do a quick practice run just for ages 30 to 35. Why don't we do that? So I've just highlighted these cells. I've included income because I'm going to put that in next, but I don't want to confuse anything just yet. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to select quick analysis. Okay, and then I'm going to go to charts, and then I'm going to go to clustered. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, so once again, highlight, right click on the highlighted part, quick analysis, charts, clustered. Okay, and there we go. Right, and this chart here is just showing us how, yes, the mortgage is starting off a lot more than the rent, but the rent is going up more than the mortgages over time. Okay, and this is age 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, right? So that's the practice run. Now we're going to do it for the whole thing. So I'm going to highlight all the way, and we're going to include the income because I want to put that in on the chart soon. So just trust me on that. Just highlight everything, move all the way across to whenever you die. 81, let's say, just for fun. Could be 101, who knows. Okay, and then going to right click on that and create a chart. But first I'm actually going to move back because I want the chart to appear over here. So quick analysis, charts, clustered. See that? And actually I want to delete this old chart, so right click on it, cut. So that one's gone. So this is the chart that we ought to try to look at and understand. I'm going to put it up here so I can play with the numbers and see how the chart changes. Okay, so here we are. This is rent versus mortgage, and again, the blue is the mortgage. And so what you can see is the mortgage starts out more expensive, and then after a while, when you reach age 40 on this, in this example, it becomes less than rent. By age around 60, you have your house paid off. You actually own a house. And then from 60 onwards, what are you paying? You're just paying the homeowner's costs, the property tax and insurance and all that, right? And you own a house, which is nice. Now, the orange, the renter is paying rent. The renter does not own a house, but is paying rent the entire time, all the way until age 80. And look at age 80. Look how much more that rent is per year. And this is around $50,000, and this is in the future. So you can imagine how rents are going to be in the future, because they keep printing off more money, and so inflation happens, obviously. And so rents are going to be a lot more. So this is the theory, right? And this is a great fun graph to use, because now you can, well, we'll call the chart title rent versus mortgage, I guess. So I'll just click on that. Let's see. Rent versus mortgage, press enter or click somewhere. Okay, and we can, oh, go away. We can play with the numbers. So what if you bought a more expensive house, 300,000? Okay, that's what it's going to look like, right? Right, so you just press enter. 200,000, I'll just go back to the original price. Okay, what if the interest rate was 8% instead of 5%? Press enter, and you can see how your mortgage payments were higher all the way through, right? What if the interest rate was only 2%? You can see how low the mortgage payments are, right? So I'll put it back to 5, what we had to begin with. What if the term of the loan in years was 15 instead of 30? We can put in 15, press enter, and that's only going to change if you went ahead and did the if function earlier, right? So I'll change that back to 30, and then we could say, well, what if property taxes instead of 0.8% were 2%? Okay, and look at that. See why old folks don't like property taxes. Look how much they're paying, right? So 0.8. And maintenance, what if you spent a lot fixing up your house throughout the years and maintenance was 2%? Press enter. and that's what it looks like to have a house that needs a lot of repairs constantly, keeps falling apart or whatever, right? And so in any case, what if you had no homeowner dues? 0. That's how it would change. What if the homeowner dues were 1,000 a year? That's what it would look like, and so on. Okay, so you can change all these numbers and have fun and play with them and adjust them to your own situation. What if the rent was even more, maybe 1,500 a month? Okay, and the rents are really dwarfing the mortgage in this case, and maybe the rent was only 800 a month. Change it there, and so you can change that. Okay, so this is a fun graph to play with. And then of course, housing inflation rate. What if it was a lot more for the area? That's how things look. So I guess, and what if it was only 1%? That's what it looks like when it's even less. All right. So it was at 3.